everyone, and I'm going to talk about Skyblivion again. And I felt like in my last video I didn't really understand why. I just knew that because I looked at the Skyblivion stream and it was very pretty, and I didn't really explain it properly. I sort of had I was too focused on how Oblivion will always be Oblivion and all that. Thing is, Skyblivion will have a lot of the features, apparently, a lot of the features will be functional that Oblivion had anyway, so it won't really take away the Oblivion experience from you. So it's almost like I have to admit that it will kind of almost a tiny bit replace Oblivion. I will, just a little bit. But it's not going to stop me from playing Oblivion and working on Oblivion and everything, because Oblivion still deserves to have that care given to it, because it's a Bethesda game and it's Todd Howard's ambition. You know, all those quirks are very funny and charming, and unfortunately it's just pretty much that Skyblivion will miss, but that's it. So, you know, if you want a very realistic up-to-date Oblivion, you know, more realistic up-to-date Oblivion, it's not going to be as up-to-date as the latest games, because it's using an old engine. Let's face it, it's actually quite old now. Skyrim's engine is over 10 years old now. It's actually that old. But still, it's going to be a lot better. Graphics wise, as far as Distant Lod is what I could see on the stream, it looks exactly the same as Oblivion. It looks very beautiful, and I'm very pleased about that. But apparently we're going to have underwater fighting, so we can go in there and swing our sword in the water and still create spells. And create spells is going to be a really good one, because that's the only thing Skyrim was really missing, was a good magic system. Of course, Oblivion will still have the better magic system, because you can cast spells while holding a weapon, and that I might actually be wrong about that. They might even be putting that in Skyblivion. Don't get your hopes up though, but they might actually have already done that as well. I doubt it though, because there's no need for it. It's just, yeah. Immersively though, do I like the look of Oblivion's magic system though? No. Because it kind of looks like underwhelming, even though it's not. Because Skyrim's magic system looks very cool, because you hold your hands out like this, and you do a what's it called, a Dragon Ball Z, and you cast your spell. It's cool, but yeah, it's gonna be good. Yeah. What else to say about it? The graphics up close looks absolutely amazing. I think the reason why they put so much 4K in it is because they were trying to hope to the Todd Howard gods that Oblivion, like Skyrim, could handle it. I keep saying Oblivion. Skyrim engine could handle it, and it should be able to, because, you know, if Todd Howard cared enough, I'm sure that he could upgrade the Skyrim engine again and make it even more upgraded and handle more 4K. But the thing is, even games that are made these days are not made completely with 4K. Only some textures are 4K with new games anyway, so it's really not actually, it's not going to take away from the graphics as far as our computers are concerned. It's only going to be noticeable in another 10 years from now, so that's nothing. It does look like a very fantastic game. Skyblivion looks fantastic. So it's not going to, this is a video basically for people to give Skyblivion a chance, because I know that, you know, I know that I feel very sad about the fact that Oblivion has been left in the dust for quite a long time. Not completely left in the dust, but it has been by people who are very ambitious, have not bothered with Oblivion anymore. And I guess it's because Oblivion has some quirks that they can't get past and stuff like that. But yeah. But I don't know. I can't really guess much else than what's really happened with Oblivion. It just ended up dying, you know. Oblivion ended up not completely dying, like it's still going, and it won't ever completely die either, because there will always be people that want to see it still shine the way it used to. But yeah, anyway, I'm not talking about Oblivion, I'm talking about Skyblivion. And Skyblivion, yeah. What else to say about Skyblivion? Another good thing about Skyblivion that's better than Oblivion is there's a few things. One thing, the unique landscapes and better cities are sort of incorporated into it. So those beautiful mods for Oblivion will now be not the same, of course, because they have to do their own thing. They can't obviously copy better cities and unique landscapes, because that would be piracy or whatever. I think it's piracy or something. They wouldn't be allowed to do it unless the mod authors of those mods would give them the permission. But they're not going to do that. They've taken their own take on unique landscapes when it comes to Cyrodiil, and it does look amazing. It looks a lot more detailed as well. So that's what's going to look good about Cyrodiil. See, there's really not much going against Skyblivion. There's not much going against it at all, because the only thing that my gripe is with it is that the zombies are not going to be as scary, because they don't have that creepy... Yeah, it's just hard to explain, but if you could imagine a walking corpse, really analyse the way the Oblivion zombie walks and runs, and I reckon that's the spitting image of a walking corpse is the Oblivion zombie. It still creeps people out even today, even though it's so old, you know. Granted, it does happen to still scare people who grew up with Oblivion like me. So it might have something to do with nostalgia goggles somewhere, but still. There's nothing wrong with the Draugr model. It's just, it's not the same as a zombie. Looks more like a Draugr than it is a zombie. But that's debatable. That just depends on what you consider to be a zombie, because when it comes to Walking Dead, well, they look like a zombie anyway. Like, they look like Draugrs in Walking Dead. So, they just don't look much like a corpse. And they don't, because, you know, Walking Dead has... But the Walking Dead shit. Don't worry about Walking Dead. I'm so glad that show was finally over. Oh, man, that was painful, man. It's like, I can't believe everyone ended up dying from the beginning, except for the ranger dude or whatever he was. Oh man. Even his son, everything. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway. But the wraiths are going to be absolutely fantastic. The liches will look absolutely really cool. They will look cooler than the liches in Oblivion, but they won't look as... Oh, they might actually be as scary as the... No, they might actually be better. Because the liches in Oblivion suffer from very bad facial texture. And that's the only problem with the Oblivion vanilla lich, is that its facial texture was once a very creepy texture when you look through it through a through an old TV lens. But as soon as you look at those low texture, those low resolution textures. It just looks like it, it's hard to describe. It just doesn't look good. Not, it still looks ugly. It doesn't. It looks a bit goofy, if you know what I mean. Whereas the Lich in Skyrim, and because of the model of the Lich in Skyrim, it does look a lot cooler. And because these Liches hopefully will have the same sounds as the Liches in Oblivion, oh, that's just the cherry on the cake. It's gonna be fantastic. As for the ghosts, thanks to, and this is really a big thank you to Mihail for making all those really cool creatures. Because of his work, I believe they were able to easily make the ghost and stuff like that work. Somehow, yeah, it's just amazing. Will o' the Wisp, well, that's just a floating bit of swamp gas. That's all that is. That can be just anything, an orb. As for the Scamp, yes, here's the thing. The Scamp and the Goblin will not look as good as they did in Oblivion. Well, they will look better, but they won't move around the same. Like, the Goblin's obviously going to be slow and conniving instead of upfront, hypo, and like almost like a monkey. Because in Oblivion, Goblins were really in your face. They ran right up to you and just scratched you and bit you and stuff like that. They didn't bite you, but they did all that really rough stuff, and they were a lot more animalistic than the creepy and the conniving Thalma. The Thalma were a lot more smart than the Goblin, and it shows through the movement. The animations tell the story of the creature, I believe. But what do you do? There's nothing you can do, because the problem is you have to port and there was no good porters. No one really knows how to port properly anyway, and it takes a lot longer. Because the porting was done for more Oblivion, and that took ages for that to get past the quality control, the fan quality control, and even today they still melt. You know, they'll just melt on the spot after they die, like they collapse, or they'll fall through the floor and stuff like that. It's because when porting a game to another game, it's obviously got it's like putting an interdimensional being in our reality. It's like it's all gonna go horribly wrong. It takes ages for them to stabilize them in. Anyway, but yeah, it would have been a lot more work. And we want Skyblivion to hurry up and come out. We do. It's going to come out apparently in 2025, which is not long away. It's already 2023 now, so 2 more years. Let's hope. Yeah. So it will probably come out just before, or if not just after, Elder Scrolls 6, because Elder Scrolls 6 will definitely come out in 2025. I believe. I believe it will. It'll be in its infancy stage but it'll just all be so cool. It'll be such a good gift for Elder Scrolls fans. 2025. I don't think that just because Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, it will outshine Skyblivion, because I don't think it will at all. I think it will complement it, in fact, and a lot of the makers, a lot of the modders for Skyblivion might move on to Elder Scrolls 6 engine and just mod with that. A lot of them are saying, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself and stuff, but mod Elder Scrolls 6. It's going to be cool. And also, why not? I mean, they're going to obviously make another project for Elder Scrolls 6 where they put Skyrim in the Elder Scrolls 6 engines because it's going to blow their minds. You know, they're going to do it all over again. Elder Scrolls 5 and Elder Scrolls 6. It's going to be... That's if we even get that. Yeah. We might get an Elder Scroll. You know what I highly suspect? I honestly suspect Elder Scrolls 6 is going to surprise the shit out of us. Okay? You know why? Because I believe there's going to be a lot of provinces that are going to be fully playable, voiced, and detailed in Elder Scrolls 6. Because, let's face it, Tamriel itself is almost the size of Valheim. You know, or not even as big as Valheim. So, I would expect the whole of Tamriel to be playable in Elder Scrolls 6, because let's face it, let's look at the games like Valheim, and Valheim's even bigger than Tamriel, and then we got Valhalla, that was huge. Of course, it was very linear, like what those company makes their games that way, but that's them. Yeah, so that's what I think. I think it will have to really impress me. Elder Scrolls 6 will have to, with absolute full expectations, to have all the provinces, at least all of the provinces, playable, because we can't just go with just one province, and they're sort of implying that the what's it called, the people who interview Todd Howard, they ask very careful questions, and I know they're holding back a lot of questions we would ask him because he doesn't want to be put on the spot, because I know that he wants to surprise us with a really, really awesome Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah, that's what I think's going on. It's too careful, they're very careful about when they ask. They don't ask too much about Elder Scrolls 6 yet. They don't want to say, so they ask the question. It's a trick question too. Where's it going to start? Technically, it's going to start in one of the provinces, but sooner or later you're going to be able to go to other provinces as well. That's what I think is going to happen in Elder Scrolls 6. That's what I expect. Because for a game these days, there's no limitations preventing those things. Hell, we'd probably even be able to go to Akavir as well, or maybe the Somerset Isles, and that would be even easier. Somerset Isles is apparently pretty small, so yeah, Akavir, Somerset Isles, Blackmarsh, Valenwood, why not? There's no limitations on this stuff anymore. In fact, I even thought if they wanted to limit the provinces, they would have to increase the actual size of the whole Tamriel world space. And I don't know if that's a good idea, because there's so many games cemented in our mind of how big the whole mass is now. Because, yeah. Oh, I might be wrong, they might do it. But anyway, that's enough talking. I hope you enjoyed this talking about the next Elder Scrolls 6 and Skyblivion. And yes, Oblivion players, please give Skyblivion a chance. I know that you're very, very determined not to play it, and it's not like just because you're playing Elder Scrolls, it's not just like you're playing Skyblivion and that suddenly you won't be able to play Oblivion anymore, because I know that we'll always come back to Oblivion. We're too nostalgic for that game, for frick's sake. We're too nostalgic, it's ridiculous. Just like the Skyrim players will always go back to Skyrim and not play Elder Scrolls 6. I might be wrong, but I think they'll eventually stick with Elder Scrolls 5. Anyway, see you guys.